this. Alright. Okay, I'm back. I think I want that aiming just a little bit this way. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So we ended on part of page 26. And this just gives me a reference to know where I'm at. So we're talking about let's see, a corpuscular time forms outside of the smallest interactions in our space. All singularity gravity is cancelled because the space particle is in the center of the singularity at every point, down to a limit which is likely the Planck size limit, and gravity leaks through that size, smaller than that size. And this small leakage is called the weak force. And so it's ingeniously designed to cancel all but a little bit that deliberately leaks through to continue the universe's existence. If you divide an infinitely divisible thing like space, even infinity would never finish dividing it. So this Planck size seems to stop that. Otherwise, it would be a halting function or a halting problem. This is where we get quantum tunneling, action at a distance, back in time effect, all easily explained with a singularity's dual corpuscular time nature, realizing we never left our home, the black hole we live in. Space. If you have space-time, one sun in the space, we're just looking at the space, or a googolplex of suns, the space from that. We cannot tell the difference if there's no frame of reference. Space has a density of 0. If there is no matter present, density of 0. This space is in the point of singularity reunitized, according to gravity, spin, mass. The space pixelates, more like twipsulates, but space has no pixels or twips, but is one particle, and this forms a dual corpuscular time. All black holes have an independent dual corpuscular time. So if you have two black holes, they're completely separated, except for the gravity. The gravity from a black hole, of course, affects. It's like a sun, you know. Where the black holes, in the black holes, we have a V realm and a P realm. The V realm is a virtual realm, and the P realm is a potential particle realm. Have separated but intimate corpuscular times. These are the only two we have direct proof, because we live in it. And I'm going to read, I'm not sure what this is saying, I just got to go over it so I can, let's see. Being the so-called weak force is responsible for the strong, they in a sync pathway that binds particles together. This is basically because gravity and gravity as a strong force are one and the same, so I think all crushing gravity has been cancelled due to the black hole's relativity. Okay, so not that, okay. Gravity, there is a force that's gravity or similar to gravity that may or may not have to do with the strong force. I just wrote that down. I was thinking about stuff. Okay, onward. The event horizon of a black hole is a line of separation between this dual corpuscular time and another corpuscular dual time. Oh, okay, that's true. So, in other words, the event horizon of a black hole is a line of separation between our corpuscular time and another. The only thing that's not separated, again, is the gravity itself. A line Einstein, the The event horizon was a line that Einstein would not cross. A black hole is a composite thing, that is to say, it is made up of distinct parts. Our space is connected to our black hole, and part of our black hole is in superposition or supertime. Everything is separated in the black hole. Space is put with V space, and space bulges out in a reality, and then points of singularity is all compacted into the point of singularity. The black hole then reunitizes itself. A photon with a 700 nanometer diameter may only have a 1 nanometer in the V space. This way, c light speed is still the same as in reality or our space. Now that 700 nanometer, it's likely to be different than that. I'm just giving an example that it's reunitized. And then the Higgs field likely is what unitizes the two, because and there's some really great examples of this actually happening, where there's two out of phase times in particles, and they show how they get. It's really weird how they get unitized. So it's a pretty fantastic thing. I'm not remembering. There's so much data in this area, but anyway, suffices to say that the Higgs field is likely could be a contributor of unitizing, interfacing is what I meant to say. This, and then if not, it's to be discovered. So anyway, non-unitized space has no size reference. So massive black hole space, or a smaller thing like, let's give an example of 3 suns that make up a black hole space. With nothing to compare it, it all looks the same. You may ask, well, let's see, then what unitizes the black hole? That would be gravity. Space, mass, energy, V spin, H spin. V spin would be a vertical and horizontal. So the vertical spin is similar to the planet, or like, that's horizontal spin. Vertical spin would be like the magnetism of a planet. These create the rules of corpuscular time and centrifugal force, and the pole positioning is important. You have a V particle, a particle formation in space, and space itself, and they flow perpendicular to each other. In the middle, you got an attractor. It's right there, and so let's see. A particle formation in space, smaller black holes spin faster, bigger black holes spin slower. Corpuscular time is different in each, and each black hole makes 2 corpuscular times. So a lot of times I'll be talking of like these things are matter of fact. Doesn't necessarily mean it. It's just a lot easier just to speak it like it's a matter of fact, because it's easier to do that than to explain all the different facets of why this could be or not, or why you can't do that or you can't do this. It's just an idea that may seem to have other testing that's been done that seems to match up with this concept that is very difficult to put into words, because there really isn't anything basically hasn't been done yet. So every reality has its own set of corpuscular times. One is the black hole time, which is superposition, and okay, hold on a second here. This is the earlier stuff that I was doing, so I wanted to kind of go down the line that I did, and then probably redo it later. But if you get a benefit from this information, let me know with a thumbs up and a share and subscribe and all that good stuff. So anyway, corpuscular time. Let's see. Every reality has its own set of corpuscular times. One is the black hole time, and the other is space-time. I think later on, like I said, I standardize a way of saying this better. And I connected up a lot with superposition and the wave function. And fuzzy. Some people say fuzzy. Okay, black hole time is vastly faster than space-time without violation of the speed of light rule, because virtual light's diameter is a different size than space-time realm, or it's out of phase. And the particles are reunitized. And that reunitization so there's two separate unitizations in a black hole. One is for space-time and the other is for superposition. As if light's arms are held inward or outward. It's like a spring and particles. Think of the black hole as a pressure upon a particle, on the particle, and when it is set. The photon size is changed according to the gravitational pressure. Now, I know what you are going to say. If you don't, I'll say it for you. The center of the black hole has a diameter of 0. Perfect. And but we came from a black hole, and according to science, nothing can leave a black hole, so logic says we are still in it. What a nice place to live. So, this light change, this light changes the diameter. Change makes that space different. When the black hole can access the space it creates at superposition time. Now, that didn't make any sense, sorry. Now, if in relation to us the diameter of light is crushed to a point of singularity, then the speed is infinite. No, I don't. I think I wrote that wrong. I argue that if the black hole pressure is a set force inward and the centrifugal force a force outward, then it seems logical that there would be an equilibrium at some point in between. Light might not be crushed out, but simply follow the space-time curvature of that space, and its nature changed to match it. Okay, let's try this. Curvature. Either way, we end in a great place, if I am right, because if light is as a photon reduces its diameter or increases it by, say, 50% in that new system, light would travel the exact same way as here from its own point of view, which would likely mean light would be traveling, in the case of 50%, a half a light year per year in comparison, and if the radius was times 2, then light would travel twice as far in a year, relatively speaking. There are two important times set. Number one, black hole superposition time. I call everything in the black hole V time, V particle, V energy, V mass. I think that it is part of the Higgs field's duty connecting the V realm to the space realm, space-time realm. Corpuscular time set by the formation of the black hole. Its mass sets to a new diameter of light, photon. We don't know how fast particles are moving in the black hole, but superposition is out of phase with our reality until the horizontal space-time coincides with a vertical V particle. This language is saying something to describe a process that we cannot see, but as a language we must proceed and say it somehow. To describe something we know is happening but lack the insight or ability to see it literally. This doesn't mean we can't make use of something because we can imply and may lack, or that we can't imply. No, I don't know. Let's see. This doesn't mean we can't make use of something we can't imply and may lack the literal reality. As we pry our way into deeper knowledge, this should develop deeper truths over time, into deeper truths over time. I imagine you create a test that brings a particle into existence, and let's say you map out a solid particle, if you could, and then duplicate all the energy pathways that literally create a copy of, say, of coarse gold, and out of thin air, a molecule of gold falls onto the surface of the experimenter's table. You couldn't do that, I hear, when you didn't, I said, well, you didn't cheat any law. The gold might just vanish a split second later. It might be a temporary thing. This violates, like, everything. It's just a thought. It's just a thought process. So it may seem to violate a lot, but there are particles that are made and that snap into existence and then out of existence. So every time the horizontal space-time wave collides with a V particle, a particle forms. This gives us great insight into what is happening inside a black hole. Want to know what it's like in a black hole? Then look to our reality, because you're living in one. You might think of a black hole as the great force that sets corpuscular time for a space-time, place, reality, because though the center of the black hole size is going to be 0, and the calculations are infinite, but that isn't taking into account the centrifugal force also fighting back with near infinite spin and centrifugal force, because as the particle is compacted, it rotates faster, and at some point we will get an equilibrium, and this changes the diameter of light as a photon and all other resultant particles, which changes that whole space, and that space reunitizes accordingly. Black hole time equals would be infinitely small particles, but is offset by infinite spin of those particles or base material. Excellent. The only particle that is everywhere is space, and it is one particle, and also multiple particles, but we'll get to that. Doesn't that fact that we exist violate? No, I found out it doesn't. I said, doesn't it? Yeah. Anyway. Does that fact that we exist violate certain aspects of scientific laws? Of course it does. According to I saw a thing that basically says it doesn't. But it's kind of interesting because it has to do with entropy and enthalpy. So it looks like we violated entropy. But we coincidentally apparently don't. So I love the terms superposition and inflation, both describing something that is real. It's like connecting dots. It's beautiful.